Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Terry James Gingrass, and this is Dr. G's ADHD Chat. Okay, this is a show designed to help make the world safer for ADHD folks. The I got into this basically consciously when I had a child born who was ADHD squared, and up until actually at that time there was no such thing as ADHD, because the way the APA does diagnoses is it's kind of like a committee meeting, and then they get together and I don't know, sip espressos or something and decide what names we're going to use for different things. And it wasn't until 1980 that they decided there was such a thing as ADD, attention deficit disorder. And then 7 years later, in 1987, they decided they weren't going to call it ADD anymore. It was going to be ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So all those of you who are trying to, oh, but he's not hyperactive, it doesn't matter. Sorry, he's still going to be called ADHD, or she is still going to be called ADHD. Anyway, so I kind of grew up with the whole ADHD world, because when I was in grad school, I didn't hear anything about ADHD. So all of a sudden I have this child and I'm trying to figure out what the heck's going on, what to do about it, and that sort of thing. And none of my friends, who were also psychologists, and a lot of them were pediatric specialists, knew either. So guess what? When other people can't help you, then you have to learn to do it yourself. And spent a lot of time reading books, journal articles, going to webinars and conferences and that sort of stuff. And that's how I got into ADHD. And I was not very satisfied with the kind of treatment approaches that were being offered for ADHD. They were mostly what I'm going to call tactical approaches, which is, if you're not a sort of military oriented person, tactical is what you do to win the battle, the immediate battle when they're right in front of you. Strategic is how you win the war. Okay, that's the long term thing. The thing you want to take a town, that's a tactical thing to do. You want to win the war, that's strategic. And so many of the approaches were tactical, in the sense that winning meant your child was making his bed or her bed, or cleaning up her room, that sort of thing, which is nice, I suppose, but it doesn't really compare much to having an adult that you're really proud of. And that's why my approach has always been strategic. That is, I want the long-term result. I want what you've got, an adult that you're proud of, that and is making some kind of a positive contribution. So that's the difference between strategic and tactical. And I call my approach strategic, as in, okay, the ADHD strategic parent. That's my book, by the way. I don't take it out and show it very much. I'm not the world's best marketer, I guess. But the deal with a strategic approach is that you're always focused on the desired behavioral outcome. You're always focusing on developing a responsible, confident adult who's resilient and persistent and knows how to compensate for further the difficulties that ADHD presents in his or her life. So as that puts a lot more work on the parents, okay? Because I'll tell you, I have three kids, and the first three were, just regular kids. And, you can kind of just react to things, and it doesn't really matter much. But if you have an ADHD child, you better doggone it think ahead, plan ahead, anticipate things that are going to happen. Well, hello, Gary. Or is this Helen? I can never tell for sure. I am back. I haven't actually been gone anywhere. I've been mostly here every Sunday, which I want to talk about a little bit at the end of this thing. But okay, the deal with ADHD and strategic parenting is it puts more pressure on the parent. You have to be more knowledgeable about ADHD, and you have to anticipate the difficulties that you're going to have, and get ahead of the game and learn that, okay, ADHD is a neurologic condition. It's not a behavior problem, okay? Just because they're not acting the way you'd like them to act doesn't mean that they're doing it okay. Anyway, I'm sorry, getting the message here. But the deal is that your kid is, well, if you don't learn to plan ahead, and develop contingencies, and learn how to train the skills that they're going to be deficient in, you're going to have a lot of trouble. Okay, and that's why I'm pretty adamant about this. That you really need to know a lot to be a good parent of an ADHD kid. They get so much negative consequence stuff. They get so much criticism that it's hard to have them grow up and mature into confident adults. And so you have to really work hard on that one. And you also have to work really hard on recognizing when it's the ADHD that's causing the problem. Because a lot of times, they'll blow up about something emotionally. I mean, they're yelling and screaming and jumping up and down. And a lot of times it's just that they don't feel like they can do what you're asking them to do or what the teacher is asking them to do. And so they're frustrated, obviously, but it isn't that they are behavior problems per se. There aren't conduct disorders and all those sorts of scary things that you hear about. So I developed this whole program, and I spent the last 10, 15 years developing it and codifying it, and finally somebody said, well, you got to write a book. This is all fun and good, coming and listening to you, but you really need a book. Okay, so there's the book, and it's been out for a while. You can get it on Amazon. I don't know what it is, 10, 12 bucks. I don't know. But it's got some good ideas, I think. and it's it's the kind of thing that if you follow the rules, you will have a much better chance of having a good outcome. Because the good outcome most of us want for our child is that they grow up to be responsible, reliable adults who are confident, who can make a mistake and correct it. And that's about all you can expect. Who knows what they're going to do, although we know that entrepreneurs tend to be ADHDers. So they could really be super successful kids, or adults rather. They could start companies and that sort of thing. I know tons of millionaires maybe a billionaire or two as well, who have ADHD, and that sort of drives them. But see, ADHDers are naturally good at being entrepreneurs because they tend to be creative. They tend to like making decisions fast. They become really alive when there are problems, and so they're just kind of ideally tuned to be entrepreneurs. And the so it's a different approach. It's it's an approach that's been very effective, and it's also an approach. I mean, just eliminating some of your own critical comments, or a lot of them, perhaps most of them, makes for a much more pleasant home life. Okay, that's strategic parenting, and I'm gonna be making a bunch of changes. Ooh, okay, I'm getting some emails here, chats for notes from of an ADHD family, and yeah, there've been a lot of things going on for them, and I hope things work out well. Uh, you're brave people to homeschool, though. I'll tell you that. That's the thing. I'm sort of battling around here now, but I've been doing this show for about 7 years now, and I've normally done it at about this time, Sunday, about 1 o'clock or so. And I'm seriously thinking about changing the time. I mean, I just started doing this just because I happened to have some time on my hands on Sunday afternoon, and I thought, I wonder what happens if I push this little red camera looking thing on my phone. And all of a sudden I realized I was live, and so I started talking. But probably we're going to go to Tuesday at 11 o'clock in the morning, Eastern time. Just because I also work, I do some coaching, and I work with adults with ADHD, mostly adults with ADHD who are executives or entrepreneurs. And I need to have some time to also start doing a show like this for high performance ADHDers. And so that'll be coming along pretty soon, really. I'm already working on the book, so this is me being retired. I'm not very good at it, I guess. Okay, so that is the announcements and that sort of thing that I wanted to give you today. And I also wanted you to, I sometimes don't emphasize enough the real, this is the real difference that a strategic approach makes in handling an ADHD child. And I should do that more, I think. But so this is my emphasis for getting you to start thinking strategically when you're looking at your child. And so, okay. Well, so I will see you next week. I will probably, it'll be Tuesday at 11 o'clock. And if there's some major catastrophe, then I'll fall back on this time. And like usual, my website is terrygingrassphd.com. You can sign up for my list, which I would appreciate, and you get some extra stuff that I don't give to everybody. And you can sign up for coaching if you're an adult. I do some with kids, but I'm a little bit expensive for a kid. So just want to make sure you know that's how you can get in touch with me. You can leave messages on this chat board, and I will. And Gary and Helen, I'm glad you're still cooking. I saw that Gary has some surgery. I guess that must have turned out well. I hope so. It's pretty routine nowadays. And I hope things go well with your son. If you've got any specific questions, let me know. Okay, we will catch you next time.